Welcome to The Exclusive. I'm your host, Sharon Tharp. I'm back with a week 10 breakdown of Big Brother to talk about everything going on in the house. I feel like it's been a while. I am joined by my friend Sin. Sin, what's going on? How have you been?
I've been good, just Big Brother life, trying to. I think that 1 week where nothing happened was a real something, but we're getting back to the gist of things, and hopefully the momentum speeds up again, maybe.
Hopefully. We have actually, I think it's basically a month left to the finale. So we're inching closer. We still got, what, a third of the game left?
Yeah,
Something
with
like that.
9 people left in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Well, I'm glad we're catching up because we haven't talked Big Brother much in the last few weeks, so it's nice to see you.
Yes.
Before we dive into everything, I do want to say that, I'm really grateful. A lot of you guys listen to the podcast and watch my videos, and a lot of you just don't subscribe for some reason. So all I would ask is that you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my podcasts, because you know me, I like to just drop surprises sometimes. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys should not have beef with Sharon Tharp. If you're not gonna sub, I'm gonna have a problem with you too. So you don't want beef with both of us. So sub,
Yeah.
please. Sub, thank you.
I
Sub
don't
or
have beef with
Zingbot is
people.
gonna, huh?
I said I don't have beef with people.
Well, I do. So,
Oh, okay.
oh,
You can
yeah.
have it for me. Thank you.
Yes.
No
I'm
beef.
gonna get Zingbot to drag them, but yeah.
I always wonder what Zingbot would say to me. Maybe it's best I don't know. But we'll get to Zingbot because there were kind of some flops. But let's go back a little bit just to catch up. We haven't really talked, but I spoke with Izzy last week, which is super fun. Go watch that if you haven't. It was fun to have her on. She's kind of been like staying off feeds, but then diving into feed. I don't know. She's a fun time to talk to. But okay, so catching up, we had the double eviction. Cam and Jared went home. Cam won the comp, re-entered the house. He targeted Felicia, of course, as this BB house does, flipped, and Mimi went home. What did you think of getting rid of Mimi for Cameron and actually for everybody? What were your thoughts about that?
I just want to point out that this is the second time Felicia has been on the block, and it's the second time she managed to flip the votes. So,
Felicia, she managed to flip them?
I mean, she didn't do anything, but no. She managed to somehow convince other people to keep her over. Maybe she.
It's a stretch.
Yes. Oh, fine. She was the initial target who managed to untarget herself and get the second person evicted. So you know what? It's working. So
yeah, I mean, she's off the block, or she was at the point.
Yes.
Now she's back on. But anyway, Mimi had quite the little exit. I spoke with her obviously last week, and I just love the shady exit. It's good television. Do I wish she had that fight kind of during the week? Yes, that was a little frustrating. I think a lot of the Mimi fans were like waiting for her to turn it on or whatever. It just never happened. And I felt like she was in a good spot for a while. So yeah, it was bummed to see her go. But what about you?
Yeah, I think Mimi is the perfect example of a player of what could have been. Like, there's so much untapped potential to what her game could have been or what she could have been as a player. But you know how sometimes it just doesn't play out the way you expect it to, and you just become too complacent, and that gets you evicted. So it's unfortunate.
It definitely is. Okay, so we had an HOH. Bowie Jane, is that her name now? I'm like blanking. Won the HOH.
Yes.
Which
mind you, against Felicia, who was in the tiebreaker. So Felicia, she the only two women to win competitions are Bowie Jane and Felicia, who are women in this game. So
fair to say. That's fair to say. And we all know the comps are not equitable. But anyway, so she wanted to target really Serene Felicia because I think she kind of knew all along, especially, what was it, a couple weeks ago, that like she was never really in with them. She was kind of dragged along in the beginning with that alliance. And I think she was really hurt to be left out of things. And I think she still carries a little bit of that. And so she puts up Serene Felicia. I don't think everyone was thrilled with those nominations, but they kind of were like, all right, just let her put them up. Because everyone had a backdoor on their mind. Right, Sin?
Yeah, the entire house they wanted to backdoor a certain someone, and Bowie Jane winning the HOH just threw a wrench in everyone's plans because Bowie Jane is not included in any of these backdoor ideas. The week prior, she's just like there, and people are just like, ah, it's Bowie Jane. She's not gonna win anything. But she managed to win something with and do something completely different than what everyone else wanted. So yeah,
Yeah. I would say most people are on board with a backdoor of Cameron. I'd say Blue is still on the Corey backdoor train, which she may or may not know as we're recording that's happening. We'll get into it, but things are still happening right now. It's Sunday night, so we'll give you the updates as we get them. But essentially, it looks like Cameron's going to be backdoored. And how that happened was it was really Matt and Jag pushing a lot for that. And Bowie did not want to do it, right? She's like, Cameron's been my friend or whatever, whatever you want to call it, because they had a little, they were fine. She felt included with him or whatever. She's like, I need a reason. And so they came up with a reason. Basically, I think Cameron mentioned Bowie's name because America was acting weird. And he's like, does America know that we're backdooring Corey? Like, she must know. And the only person who would tell her is Bowie. And of course, Jag was like, this is amazing. You mentioned Bowie's name. And so anyway, they went back to Bowie and they were like, Cameron, this is what he was saying. And she was like, great. Now I have an excuse to put him up. So that's kind of where we were at. But yeah, let's talk about the veto because I totally skipped over that. The veto draw was interesting. Suri is obviously playing because she's on the block, which how many vetoes did she not place in? Do we know?
This is her first veto this entire season, which is, I think she broke the record of how many times veto hasn't been played consecutively. So that's insane.
I mean, she didn't win, but she at least played. The people that weren't chosen were Cameron, Blue, and Corey, which is funny because I feel like those are the people that would probably need to win the veto the most.
Yeah, it's like,
but whatever. And it was OTEV and it was Zingbot. So it was, have we ever had OTEV and Zingbot in the same comp?
No, we have not. Right? It's the first time, yeah.
So that's fun. I'm excited to see that. But we did get a little bit of what the zings are, as we usually do. The house guests talk about them and we can kind of pick up of what they were. I think Corey was on the feeds kind of going through them, which thank you, Corey, as we know what they were. I don't know. Sen, anyone stick out for you? I wasn't blown away with them.
Okay, so
what do we got?
Okay, so the America one was okay. So let me just run through my list of zings because Zingbot did its thing. Okay, so the America one was something about her dating younger men, which I think is inappropriate of Big Brother to do because, first of all, their age difference isn't that bad. Number one. And number two, like, whenever it's a guy and a girl, if it was a guy who was the older person in the showman, someone would be saying anything. So why is it an issue?
Thank you, Sanan. Thank you.
Like, there has been so many showmances with an age gap similar to America and Corey, where it's the guy being the older one and no one bats an eye. So why is it an issue when it's America? Yeah, Big Brother, yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Like, cheap shot, but...
Yeah, like it's like when they're like running low on stuff when like I thought they were gonna go towards like the whole washing machine kissing type zing or something.
Oh. I thought they were gonna do a play on her name or something.
Yeah,
but
I mean, yeah.
Okay,
so that was one. Bowie's was, what's the difference between a Bowie and the great white shark? One's Australian with big scary teeth and the other's a great white shark, implying that Bowie has big and scary teeth, which again, cheap shot, like not creative.
Have you ever noticed her teeth?
No.
I've never even looked at them.
Mimi and Felicia and Suri would make fun of her teeth sometimes on the feeds, but like, don't think it's a thing. Like, her teeth are fine. She has nice teeth.
Yeah, they could have done something with her, like just not being involved in anything. I don't know. There could have been other things.
Yeah, I feel like Bowie, like something with her, like her alien hair, her glitter, like any of those stuff could have been like another like Australian stuff, but her teeth, like
very random. I'm not a big fan of targeting people's appearances, but
yes.
All right, what else do we got?
Yeah, Cameron's was you got the military promotion from lieutenant loser to major fucking tool. Again, like fine, you get the point.
Okay,
Like
that's kind of funny.
it's funny, but like, is it creative? No, it's just like,
No, 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 no.
like I could ask
Actually,
like,
you know what? It's not
yeah,
funny. Why am I saying it's funny? It's really not.
you got a military promotion from lieutenant loser to major fucking tool. Like, first of all, like what's the point?
I think the thing I like about it sometimes is knocking someone down a
Yeah,
peg.
yeah,
And that kind of got me like, okay, like maybe
yeah.
it's a little bit of a wake up call, but no, it was not.
Yeah, like you could have done so much with Cameron's like being a stalker and like his hair and like his mannerisms and stuff, but like I feel like yeah. Or at
Well,
least like yeah.
I was gonna say real quick before we move on. Have you seen some of the clips of him talking to America still? It's so bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you could have done something with that like a you stalker type thing. Have you been seeing the meme that's been going around of a you type promotion with Cameron
Oh,
as the star of the
oh God.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. What else?
Okay. Blue, the only thing worse than your catchphrases is your fashion sense. That sounds like something
No,
a
it should be
third year.
opposite,
What?
right? Like her fashion sense is whatever, but her catchphrases are worse, I
Yeah,
think, than
and
what she
that's the thing.
wears.
It's like something like a Disney Channel teenager would say like to like on a show. It's very kindergarten. It's very yeah. Big Brother, like you need to either hide. I don't know if the writer's strike happened and they like lost whoever was writing their
No,
weird
no.
things, or because this
They
is
didn't run this. They didn't run these lines by a couple people. I feel like they
no.
should go through an approval process of some sort. Yeah.
Series I think was the best one.
Okay.
It was Siri, all your friends are gone and you're all alone, doing what you do best, losing on an island. That was
Yeah,
actually funny. Like I love Siri, but like, come on, that
pretty
was.
funny.
Let's be honest. That was good.
No, that is good. See,
Yeah,
whoever wrote that should have wrote the other ones. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if they like if it's the same guy or if that guy just wrote that and he's like, oh, I'm done. I'm just writing this, and then I can mess around with everything else because it doesn't have to be good. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else you're interested in hearing? Like we can go run down the list if you want.
I mean, they just all kind of, I don't know. I wanted more. Like Zingba has done some
Yeah.
decent ones. We all know the Christmas one. We all know
Ooh,
the
yes.
Zach Rance one,
There
right?
wasn't there the one with like Nicole Franzel and like something making fun of her voice
I mean,
on
probably
all
she's played
sides?
so many times. I'm
Yeah.
sure it was. Yeah, sometimes they like really nail them, and I don't know. It just seems again, maybe it'll come across differently when they're saying
When he
it.
delivers it. Yeah. I will say they're saying I don't have the exact zing, but Felicia's zing was something about her being old and wrinkly, which again,
What?
like yeah, like you could have
She's
had
not
so
even
much.
wrinkly.
She's not like her skin is amazing, number one. And number two, like she literally fell in the hot tub. And you're making fun of her like being old. Like you could have so much with
Yeah.
like microphones and like falling in the hot tub and all this stuff, like her laugh, but like come on, like you
Yeah.
you know
Also, like
you yeah.
her complaining to Big Brother about the food. Like, there's so many things that they could have done
Yes.
with her.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what? I have more wrinkles than she
Yeah.
does.
I have a hot take. I have a
Give
hot
it
take.
to me.
Zingbot should get discontinued. Like you're just
Really?
not doing it for me. You've been on Big Brother since like Big Brother 11. You know, it's your time. You know, just leave. We don't want you anymore. You're not funny. People are gonna drag me for this, but like it's true. Like let's be serious now. Take a moment, reflect on ourselves. Is Zingbot actually funny? What does Zingbot provide besides taking like 10 minutes from the episode on like cheesy zings? Maybe he gets one or two zings every season, but that's it. You know.
Okay. Let me counter you a little bit.
All right.
I
Yeah.
agree. He's not as funny. I think he could do way better. But I will say what it gives the players
Mm-hmm.
is insight into how they're being perceived and how other people are being perceived. And if I'm Corey and I know that, I'm reading into every zing possible because it's just outside information. And I know it's still written and it's still contrived, but like
Mm-hmm.
you can still sometimes, not always, but you can still sometimes gauge, like for example, the Cameron one, like
Mm-hmm.
clearly I would be like, all right, Cameron's being portrayed a little douchey. No.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's not always one for one, but I do think having Zingbot, at least as a player, is can be helpful or can be giving you some information, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like it's always fun to when there's a player who has zero self-awareness of how they're being perceived, they think they're the favorite and everyone hates them. Then Zingbot comes in and drags them. Like that is fun. But then again, it's also like usually their zings aren't equal. It's usually just like one person gets like a super bad zing and the rest are like meh. So it's like even if you're gathering information, some people have an unfair advantage because like they get to have knowledge on how they're being perceived, but other people are just like meh, like they don't
True.
know
Yeah.
anything. So yeah.
All right. So that's the Zings. I mean,
Hmm.
whatever. I'm excited to see it. I do like Zing, but I don't know. No, we need to retire him, but maybe like we need to up the writing a little bit. Back to the veto and then the backdoor situation. It seems like now it's pretty much out there. Bowie, for whatever reason, told Cameron that he's a pawn or some nonsense, which I mean, if you're going up after the veto that you didn't even play in, you're the biggest target, you won every freaking competition when you're not. I mean, he knows. Like,
Yeah.
she seems a little annoyed with him because clearly he's like fighting back a little bit. And they told Blue, so Blue no longer thinks it's Corey, I suppose. But yeah, what do we think about this overall? Cameron's going out. How do you see, I guess, the next week going? Who needs to win? It's tough. And Jag just
Yeah.
won his third veto. So it's very
Yeah.
possible that Jag can win HOH and get a Matt HOH. I mean,
So this is what I think about this move. I think that Cameron is super dangerous to keep in the game, whether or not it's super beneficial for Bowie personally. I think him being in the game is such a deterrent for all the players because we're getting to the point where he essentially gets to play in every single veto, like with 8 players left, 7 players left. So you have to take him out when he can't play, and like this is the most ideal week for that to happen because you can play for HOH and he didn't play for veto. So even though it may not be the best for Bowie's individual game, I think for overall win equity, like Cameron leaving is important, especially because recently we've been seeing a trend with the same people winning competitions. Like we saw Michael last season almost just like clearing house and winning every single competition every single week. So you want to avoid as much as possible to have that situation. And if you watch Big Brother Canada 11, a similar thing happens. So I think if you need to target the people winning competitions because especially in this house, nobody can win stuff except for like a few people. So you need to get those people out if you want to win.
yeah, I do think Cameron needs to go if anyone wants a shot of winning anything. But what do you think? I think it's very unlikely. Is there any world that Cameron convinces Bowie not to make this move before the ceremony?
Maybe if he pressures her. The thing with Bowie is she's very unpredictable. At the same time, she wants to appease everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So if he gets like the last word and plays on some of her like morals and integrity, like, oh, like we were working together, I trusted you, maybe that would trigger something in her that would make her want to keep Cameron. But I don't really think there's a chance unless that happens because I find that people in the house are just going to be staying on her neck, being like Cameron, Cameron, Cameron. So, and she's just going to fine. I'm just going to go with what the house thinks. But yeah, it's very hard for me to assess if this is a good move because on paper it's a bad move because she's targeting her ally. At the same time, the ally is Cameron, who's also working with Matt and Jag, who at least thought himself he was working with Matt and Jag. So it's very difficult to assess.
Yeah, I think, yeah, same. I think it's very unlikely that she's going to change her mind. I also
Mhm.
think Cameron's just condescending. So, like, it's not exactly like I don't know. Again, it's not
Yeah,
impossible,
yeah.
but he'll probably go up and he'll probably go home. And this is
Mhm.
what worries me because normal seasons, I would not worry, but this season, it's constant flipping. And
Yeah.
Suri is going to be sitting on the block because she offered to stay on the block, so Felicia didn't have to stay on the block. And so Jag is going to use the veto on Felicia. So what do we think about this move from Suri? Because I'm just, again, she's sitting next to the biggest target. but you never know with this cast.
Not good, Siri, not good. No matter what, you could be sitting next to 10 Dan Gieslings on the block. Like you still need to, stay off the block so you're guaranteed safety. We just saw last week Mimi thought she was safe and they flipped the vote on her. So yeah, I don't like this at all. I think Suri needs to stay out, especially because she is Suri. It's so easy for someone to be like, you know what, Suri, like, we have to take you out. Again, Cameron is a big target, so I think if she would be safe against anyone, it would be him. But
Yeah.
again, I can see the house flipping. Cameron also, because he wins so much, can offer that as leverage, being like, hey, I can win stuff, I can protect you. And he's shown that if he's loyal to you, he's gonna protect you. So I don't like this.
Yeah, I don't love this. I think it would work on maybe other seasons, but just knowing Suri and I don't know, it wasn't needed. Like Felicia also, like they've had their disagreements. Like she doesn't owe Felicia anything. I don't know. It was nice, but like unnecessary. So not a big fan of
Yeah.
that.
I will say in terms of Bowie's win equity, we've been talking over the past podcast, like, oh, how is she going to build up her resume? Nobody respects her. I will say getting rid of Cameron, who's one of the biggest threats in the game, as he's the first juror, I think is a good bolstering of her resume. So that point for Bowie Jane, she got that small
Even
W.
though she was coerced into doing it.
Even though it wasn't her decision at all, like, and she didn't do anything,
Yeah.
but like, she can say on my HOH, Cameron went home, and nobody can debate that, whether or not it was her move or someone else's.
Fair.
She made the choice. Yeah.
Fair. Well, that was another thing, and let me just bring it up now, is that
Yes.
if Cameron got to the end, which he likely is not going to now, but Jag, what if he gets to the end? Can someone who's been unanimously voted out of this game still win this game?
It's yes. I think yes. I think this season is very strange because how are people going to be perceiving people who make it to the end? Is it going to be an entire comp-centric type jury where, especially if you have Cameron being the first juror to go in the game, he's going to have so much influence over the rest of the people, being like, he's going to want someone who played a similar game as him to win. So if he's influencing all the people being like, hey, Jag, we both win competitions, we both got the second chance, he may sway the other jurors to award that type of gameplay, even though I don't want to see it, sadly.
I could also, though, if it comes out that Matt and Jag were pushing so hard for Cam to go on the ball, like, I don't know, I could also see him being bitter at the end. So
I think Cameron is the type of guy who respects competition. Like, he respected Jared even though Jared got him out because it was within the realm of the game. He won fair and square and took Cameron out. So yeah, I feel like Cameron's going to be the type of guy, because his game was so focused on competitions, to want to award somebody who's playing that sort of game.
Yeah.
So it's not looking good for people who don't win competitions, sadly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you see a scenario where Suri is in the final two? Because right now it sounds like the next plan, at least in Matt and Jag's eyes, who are the most likely, I would say, to win HOH at this point, they want to target Blue, and then I think they want to go to the end with Suri and Bowie, if I'm remembering correctly. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and I don't see Jag ever cutting Matt. Do we think Matt would cut Jag?
Matt might cut Jag for Suri to make it to the end, because they do have a good relationship, and again, Jag is a comp threat, so Matt may want to take Suri to the end just to ensure he has a better chance in his mind, at least. But yeah, I think this game is going to be like, how the game is going to be decided on whether or not Matt and Jag stay in the game. I think if either Matt, like if Cameron goes now, then Matt / Jag leave next week, I think the game opens up a bit, because more people have the chance of winning competitions and actually influencing and impacting the game. Because I hate to say it, but Big Brother, everyone who has won a veto has been a man this season, and only 3 women have won HOH. In a season, mind you, that started with 9 women and 8 men, we still managed to have only men win vetoes and barely any women win HOHs. Like, you guys should really reconsider, especially after looking at this season and last season. Last season less so, but also to a certain extent. I don't know what's been happening, or whether like they've just been focusing on making competitions as big spectacles rather than being equitable.
Well, that's
Because
what it is. That's what it is.
yeah,
They want it for the show. And it's disheartening because you watch old seasons and you're like, wow, these comps were stupid, some of them, but at least it was an equal playing field.
yeah,
Like they had a lot of like silly, dumb comps back in the day, back in the day. But it's true. And I feel like it's a whole production now. It has to be some kind of physical thing. And it's just like, okay, well then it's very geared towards certain people, which sucks. So agreed.
yeah. The thing is, fans of the show don't watch the show because we're excited about watching the competitions. If anything, watching the competition is the worst part of every single episode.
They don't
My
know that
opinion,
though.
huh? They don't
I
know
I
that.
really think they think that the competitions are like the best, most favorite part of the show.
They throw slime on 60-year-old people in the house. Like, what's like, that's their humor. Like, these competitions like are not good. I'm sorry, big brother, but like, just being honest,
Yeah.
you guys had so many good competitions in the past, which were actually even playing field for most people. But why? Okay, I'm not gonna argue on this because it's what they've been doing, and
Yeah.
um, we can just hope next season it's better. But yeah,
We're preaching to the choir here a little bit,
yeah,
but
yeah, we
I
are.
know a lot of
Everyone
the
knows
fans
this.
feel the
Everyone knows
same.
this. Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe if I talk to like maybe
Mhm.
if I talk to Julie, I'm just gonna be like,
Yes,
Julie.
Sharon, it's up to you. If
Not
next
that I have
season,
fucking influence, but
Sharon, yeah, if next
uh,
season the comps aren't even between men and women, we're all gonna blame you.
no, no, absolutely not. I will not take that burden. I can only do so much. But I do want to talk a little bit about the end game. But before we do, there's a couple other random things that were going on this week. Nothing too crazy. So one of the concerns that Matt and Jag had was that Cameron might be like, he might out the fugitives. Is that a big deal? I mean, I don't know. They basically decided to play dumb, kind of like Jared did in the Corey discussion of like, well, I didn't even know that was an alliance and whatever. Like that was weeks ago. Do you see that happening? Is that going to be a problem for Matt and Jag at all?
I do see that happening, but again, is it really gonna matter if Matt and Jag are just gonna win the next HOH and convince everyone that no, it wasn't the thing? It's so hard because sometimes a thing can happen, but that thing that happens does not matter at all depending on who wins the next competition. So
True.
it's frustrating because the game, like at least how the game is perceived, is impacted by who is HOH. Because if the person who you want to target wins HOH, you're obviously not gonna say stuff that's against them. So I do see that
True.
happening, honestly, because I think Carmen is gonna try to find out who pushed for his name, and he's gonna end up with Jag and Matt as the ones who did, and he's gonna want to retaliate. I can see him going up to people like Suri and not Suri's own weapons,
Corey.
and like people like Korea and America being like, "Hey, you need to take Jag and Matt out.
Mm-hmm.
They can win all these competitions, and you need me to take them out for you." I think that's a possible approach where Suri can't win any competitions. You can't use her to take people out. I can win competitions and I can target them. So I feel like
Yep.
that's one of his outs. Is he gonna do it? I'm not sure.
Yeah. I don't know if would Corey. I mean, Corey hasn't won anything really. I mean, he won. Didn't he win one thing?
He won the HOH in the
Yeah,
double.
he won one HOH. But like, just statistically, if they keep Cameron in that game, it's just silly. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
we're too close to the end. Okay, another thing that happened. How excited are you, Sin? Corey and America are official. They're boyfriend and girlfriend.
Amazing.
That's all you got?
Yeah. I mean, what else I have to say?
No, good for
Good
them.
for them. Good for
Good
them.
for
Don't let Zingbot ruin your shine.
them. And then something that's at least a little funnier that I really enjoyed because I love watching Felicia is the Denzel of it all came out. I don't know if you saw the clip. Denzel. So I think it was, I think there were a couple of them around, like sitting outside, and they were like asking her favorite actor, and she said Denzel. And then Cameron's sitting there like, wait, let's clear this up. And he was just like, I thought you were related. Like, I thought that was your brother. And she's just besides herself. She's like, what? So, that came out. That was like a funny little conversation in the midst of this nonsense. But yeah, that's all that really happened, guys. There wasn't that much this week.
No, I'm actually disappointed, low-key, because I wanted it to be like when Cameron gets evicted. Oh, actually, she couldn't expose this. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, if Julie is able to give information out to jurors, she'd be like, there has actually been a few people who are related in the game. And imagine it's like, yeah, Felicia is related to. Wait, that doesn't imply because Denzel Washington isn't playing Big Brother, but he could possibly bring that up somehow. Maybe. No? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing is silly. I mean, I will say Mimi's reaction to The Secret was what they were looking
had
for.
No idea. Yeah, she had no idea.
No. I think did I ask for this and see, I can't remember my own exit interview because I like read everyone's, of course, and watch them. And I know she told someone, maybe it was me, guys, maybe go check out my Mimi interview.
Check it out.
What did she said something like they would use the same toothpaste, and like she was always in the HOH room when he was HOH. So there was like little things, but nothing that would make sense unless you knew, I guess.
Yeah, it's that thing. In hindsight, you start to piece together all of the pieces, be like, oh yeah, that makes sense now looking back. But it's hard to say. You're not keeping an eye out for those stuff if you don't expect it.
Right. Okay, so let's talk before we wrap up. I want to know, who do you think is in the best position right now, and who, after Cameron, obviously, this week is in the most trouble?
I think that Matt and Jag are obviously in the best position. I think Matt has the upper hand because he, number one, wasn't evicted from the game. I feel like he's not going to get targeted before Jag. And I think he has a good story if he makes it to the end. He's well liked. He also has comp wins. Like he won the veto that took Jared out in the double eviction.
So he's a very well-rounded player.
He's a well-rounded player because he's also strategic. He has a good head for the game, despite people thinking he's dumb, despite Zingbot's Zing making fun of him being dumb and Donned, I guess.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think so.
Flop.
Yeah, like do better. Okay, yeah. So I do think he is in the best spot. I will say though, I'm not gonna say for sure he's gonna win the game. I think there are, especially depending on how these next few weeks go, I think his game can blow up fast. Especially if people are going to want to look at people like Jag and Matt to target because they're the next big comp piece after Cameron is gone. It's just a matter of, are people going to want to target Korea and America before targeting Jag and Matt? I think that Jag and Matt should be number one targets for everyone left in the game because they can just win out and
right. If they don't win, they should be on the walk regardless. Like,
yeah. If you're anybody but Jag and Matt and you win HOH, even if you're working with them, put Jag and Matt up, restructure the house to favor them going home and get one of them out and then another one the next week and have an even playing field so you can actually build a path to the end game, which isn't super dependent on one person winning competitions the entire season.
Yeah, I think Suri needs Jag out too because
Suri needs Jag out. Needs Jag out because Jag can win competitions number one and because he is the potential. Like if one of Suri's paths to the end game is potentially being taken to the end by Matt and beating Matt in a jury vote, whether or not that's possible is a debate. But I do think that's a plausible end game path for her. So Jag leaving is essential for that because right now Jag and Matt have been working super closely. So just cutting that tie and collecting Matt as an ally is good for her because Matt can also win competitions and she can use Matt as a tool to make it to the end.
Yeah, I agree. What about the worst position? Oh, Mag.
I mean, Blue. The thing with Blue is Blue is on an island. Her allies, Jag and Matt, who she's been close with for a majority of the season, are now against her. Like, you need to just take a step back and look at how are you going to win this game. She's been working more closely with Surya and Felicia these past few weeks after Jared left, but how are you going to make it to the end? Like, yes, you're in a good spot if you're in an end game with Surya and Felicia because you can win the final HOH and potentially decide who you want to take to the end. But is it feasible to get there with those two? And can you beat them in a jury vote? You need to. Who can Blue beat? Blue can possibly beat America, possibly beat Bowie. Even Bowie is a question mark if she can beat her.
Yeah.
So she needs to be looking to work with those people who she can win in a vote with, and who she can possibly win competitions against.
It's so funny because like part of me wants to be like, well, Blue can maybe beat Jag, right? Because he's already been voted out. But just looking at the jury, there's no way that would happen. So
Yeah, the thing is, people like Jag more than Blue,
yeah.
and
And he's
people,
won.
and he's been
There's
winning
a story.
competitions, and especially if Matt's on the jury and Cameron's on the jury, and they're all vying for Matt, and it's a smaller jury. You only need 4 votes to win. So yeah, it's more difficult to to find the because the jurors are fixed now. These people are all going to be on the jury, so you need to find the 4 people who you think are going to give you votes, and then find the balance of how do I get them on the jury while at the same time, if I need them in the game to make me get to the end of the game too. Because some
Mhm.
people could be good for you on the jury, but your only path to the end is by using them to get there. So it's
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
Do you think it's interesting? Yeah, you're right. So jury starts this week. Will we actually, because we talk a lot, in my winners interviews about jury management, how much that means, goodbye message, all that stuff to appease jury members. Do you think we're going to see the goodbye messages change a little bit? Do you think we're going to start to see, I mean, even Bowie telling Cameron ahead of time, I'm assuming was some sort of jury management. I don't know. Do you think we're going to see that?
I do. I think people like America and Corey who have watched the show a ton and who have been like America especially has been giving a few aggressive or I'd
Yeah.
say a few not nice goodbye messages. So yeah, I feel like she's definitely gonna change it up, and that's the thing that Josh did very well in his season, and which actually got him to win the game. When the jury starts, you need to portray how your game is to the jury. You need to give the jury a sense of this is what I'm doing and why I made the moves I made, and not just oh I'm sad you're gone. Bye. You need to
Yeah.
actually make people understand why them going was good for their game and what they had to do in the week and how they managed to get that person gone.
Yeah, it's like at the end, you only have a few minutes to explain your game.
Yes.
So if you slowly start to explain it, even in the 10 seconds, whatever it is in the goodbye message, if you can slowly start to explain to each jury member, that's what they talk about in the jury house.
Mhm.
There's not much to talk about. So those are things that they talk about. I think it's like super crucial. You know who I don't think is going to do that? Blue. I think she's going to continue to do her thing.
Yeah, Blue's just gonna do her thing. And the thing that people don't notice or that don't realize is you can lie in the goodbye messages. People should do
Right.
this more often. Even if you had no idea that Cameron was going home this week, just be like, yeah, Cameron, like I had to take you out this week. You're such a big threat. Like play to his ego. Even if you had no idea, you want the perception, you want the jury to perceive you as if you're an active player. Even if you had zero inkling of what was going to happen, your perception by the jury is super important. So you need to build that up so that if you reach the final 2, you have a story that you can easily explain without going to the details because the jury is already predisposed to think of you as a good player.
Yeah, I do think you got to just be a little careful because they will cross reference once they're in the jury together. So you can't lie to the point of like
Yeah.
making shit up too much.
Yeah.
But yes, you can kind of feign ignorance a little bit or whatever. You can like lie a little bit for sure. You just have to be careful because then you don't want it coming back later.
And you can also lie if you're in the final 2. And like the game isn't over when you're in those final 2 chairs and you're pleading to the jury. If it's more beneficial for you to like their faces, then like their faces. They get like, why do people suddenly stop playing Big Brother when they get to the final 2? Just
I don't know, but Sin,
nobody's.
this is the
Yeah.
one season that like those speeches actually might matter the most because this cast is never really locked in. I feel like
Mhm.
they're kind of always open to like flipping or changing their mind, or it's almost like inherent in this game. And so like at the end, usually I'm like, not that people should stop playing, but and I do like to see. I was telling Kevin Jacobs this. I like to see people fight in those speeches. I just don't know how much they always matter, but I do think it's important. Yes, 100%.
Plus, with a jury of 7, one vote is more likely to be a swing vote than a jury of
Yep.
9 because you hold more power. So if you give a good speech and people change this, people it doesn't happen often, but there has been many times when, like
Yep.
Haley, for example, in Big Brother 20, wanted to vote for Casey going into the finale, but she changed her vote for Tyler. It does happen when people flip their votes, but in a jury of 7, flipping a vote is more likely to sway the outcome.
Yep. 100% agree. Is there anything else that we didn't cover? I feel like we covered everything, right?
Who is your winner pick?
I feel like statistically, I have to pick Matt, to be honest, because I just think he has the highest chance of getting there and winning, because I think he can probably beat anyone, even Saray. Now, I'm saying that because I think it would be close, I think, but I think Matt, I don't know, I was playing out the votes and I'm like, I think Matt would win against her. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so if it's Sri and Matt in the final 2, the 4 votes I think Sri could potentially get are Felicia, Blue, America, Corey. I think those
Yes.
4 are the ones who could vote for Sri. But again, it's very up to fluctuation. It just depends on how the jury perceives you. And Sri, even though Sri has a reputation playing Survivor, she needs to make sure that she translates her reputation playing Big Brother. Because right now, how people perceive her is, yes, she's nice and she's a good strategic player, but you need to back up your strategy because she was running the game for the first part. Then Izzy and Jared left, and she's sort of been not. You just like removed all momentum, and she's trying to pick up pieces and establish an end game. So she needs to, towards the end of the game, start to show people why she deserves to win the game, not just because she was a good Survivor player and she managed to make it to the end.
Yeah, I do. I have faith in her just because I know she's a good talker. Like
She is.
She's not someone who gets nervous in those scenarios. Like I think she would speak very well about how she did things. But yes, I think it would be close with her, Matt. But yeah, I think Matt statistically would be my winner pick. I would love to see Suri get there. I don't know. And what about you? What do you think?
I do agree. Matt and Sri, I feel like are good. I feel like Sri's most probable path to win is by taking Jag out, aligning with Matt, and having Matt take her to the end. Yep. Because I'm not sure if Sri can win a final competition to take herself. She needs to surround herself with people who, number 1, can take her, and number 2, she can beat. So I feel like Matt's her best option at this point, and she needs to sort of try to leverage that and shape her game around that possible endgame path. I feel like America and Blue are slowly losing their win equity as the time passes, because it's hard to see how they can get there and how they can get the votes.
I don't think America's drawing dead. Blue might be close. I mean, again, it's just who they're sitting next to, but I don't see I don't see a Blue versus a Bowie. That's not going to happen, right? In the end, like, how does that happen?
Stranger things have happened.
Listen, it can. I'm just
Bowie
saying.
Jane just won HOH. Bowie Jane is backdooring the biggest target in this house. And I will say, I don't think Bowie's played a bad game. I think she's played a very solid floater game, because it's not like she's been coasting. She's been in alliances and she's jumped from alliance to alliance every time. Like when she was in the Bye Bye Bitches, and then when they betrayed her, she jumped to Cameron, and she's been jumping around people who've been protecting her. She still hasn't been nominated this entire game.
Yeah. That's
something to note. I don't think she's been playing a bad game.
And I don't want to say I'm like anti-Bowie, because actually you're right. Like, I think Bowie is doing what we wanted Mimi to do the whole time, right? Like, she's doing a lot, and I want to see more. Like, I'm excited to see the next few weeks and how this plays out, because she has been woken up a little bit, and I'm like, okay, I feel like she's actually understanding, and because a lot of times she would just appear in rooms and like luck her way into an alliance, but now she's being a little more proactive, so that's nice.
Yeah. The only thing is, I don't know if this jury is going to respect the floater game.
Probably not.
I don't think so, especially if people...
Not with Cameron in there.
Not with Cameron being the foreman of the jury. But
Yeah.
maybe Cameron respects Bowie for making the big move and taking him out. Maybe that's a possibility.
Out of all the women left, Cameron probably respects Bowie the most, I will say.
Because she won
Right?
more competition, probably.
Yeah, and he has some weird vendetta against America, and then
And Felicia.
Tori and Felicia, he just thinks they do nothing, and Blue, yeah, I think if any of the women were in the end, Cameron would be the most likely to vote for Bowie, I would say.
Yeah, I do. We're at the point where the only men who haven't been evicted who are in the game are Matt and Corey. So if one of those, yeah,
I love when you bring up these statistics because I'm
it's
like,
like
yeah, bring this up.
Tag's been evicted, Cameron's been evicted, and it's probably getting evicted again. So yeah, it's been a long pre-jury.
It's been a long
season. It's been a 70-day pre-jury.
Yeah, Mimi was like the longest pre-juror, right? 65 days 100%. Or something.
She played the full season of Big Brother Canada. she's done. She's played like 3 celebrity seasons.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm excited to see how it plays out because I think it's probably going to go in one way, but you never know with this cast.
Yeah. I think
every week I'm like, this HOH is going to be the one that matters. And honestly, every week it does. So we'll see.
And I do think that Big Brother is going to speed up this Endgame. I think we're seeing a double or potentially a triple coming soon because they have 9 people left and the season is over like next month. Is it like exactly a month from now?
It's a month from tomorrow. So
yeah,
you do the math because this is your realm. If you want me to spell something, I got you, but I cannot do math. So we have, how many weeks is that? So that's 4 weeks or 5?
I have no idea. Like 4 weeks.
I think it's like 4 or 5. And there's 9 people. So you're right. There's definitely another double eviction. It's just a matter of will they do the BB can thing and do a triple.
Also, isn't there like a 2-hour episode or something, an hour and a half episode coming up soon? So who knows what's
that could just be a clip show. Let's not get excited. I don't know. If it's the triple eviction and they do that, then that's great. I'd love a little more time.
I feel like they're either going to do 2 doubles or 1 triple. That's my
wow, guess. 2 more doubles?
I feel like we need to speed this thing up, especially those like the final 5 and final 4. I think they've been doing this more recently, but they usually don't spend too much time. They don't spend like a whole week in the 5. I feel like they've done it recently, but they try to speed those weeks up. So I think you know, we're gonna get like, if not next week, the week after for sure.
Yep. I'll still be doing my exit interviews. They haven't told us yet, but I'm assuming it's the same thing where I get to send questions and they send back, the answers over video. So I'll still be sharing those, still be playing those on the podcast. Thank you guys for listening. I took a break from the Winners series, but I will be back this week and I will announce who will be on the podcast probably tomorrow. I just want to confirm with them. I always double, triple confirm. That's why I don't say it here, but yeah. Once I announce it on Twitter, feel free to tweet me at Sharon Tharp or at ExclusivelyPod. Any questions you have. Like I said, I'll be back Friday with exit interviews. And yes, and where can people find you?
Find me on Instagram at my name.
Okay, well, what is your name?
It's SINANFAIAD.
Okay, so everyone asking me, there you go. That's how you can find Sin. And I'll see you guys later this week.